from. And what matters ain't the who's baddest, but the ones who stop you falling from your ladder, baby. And feel like you're feeling now, doing things just to please your crowd. And I love you like the way I love you. And I suffer, but I ain't gonna cut you, 'cause this ain't no place for no hero. This ain't no place for no better man. This ain't no place for no hero to call home. This ain't no place for no hero. This ain't no place for no better man. This ain't no place for no hero to call home. And every time I close my eyes, I think about you inside. And your mother giving up on asking why you lie and you cheat and you try and make a fool out of she. I can see where you're coming from, and I know just what you're running from. But matters ain't the who's baddest, but the ones who stop you falling from your ladder. 'Cause this ain't no place for no hero. This ain't no place for no better man. This ain't no place for no hero to call home. This ain't no place for no hero. This ain't no place for no better man. This ain't no place for no hero to call home. This ain't no place for no hero. This ain't no place for no better man. This ain't no place for no hero to call home.
All right, man. Had a little problem with music tonight.
Oh, okay.
It was a little choppy. At least on my end, it was.
It happens sometimes. It happens sometimes.
So welcome back, Rob.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, for those of you who are paying attention, the digs are a little different. But that's okay.
Well,
we've
go ahead.
Yeah, we've took a little break the new year, and the holidays are upon us as they're wont to do. And we've got some new stuff to talk about. For those of you who are paying attention, the VGAs, I believe they happened 2 days ago.
Yep.
Let me double check
I think
that.
you're right.
2024, yeah, it was. No, never mind. The Game Awards 2024 are going to be the 12th of December, but I think the VJ is the Video Game Awards. There are a couple of different ones. I believe those happened a couple of days ago. If I'm wrong, someone please correct me. That said, we do have some stuff to talk about there, but we'll get to that in a little bit. We do know one of the major things that we have kind of been privy to, and a couple of folks have been privy to, The Dungeon Masters guide for 2024 edition is, well, it's already out. I believe it was November 17th.
Yes.
It came out. Officially came out. People have reviewed it and done their digging and have said their piece. What I don't know, from your research, Greg, what do you think?
I think it's different. There's some long-standing issues that have been addressed in the Dungeon Master's Guide, with a very interesting point of view. I titled this stream tonight. We're going to talk about the Critical Role piece as well, but is Dungeons and Dragons 2024 passive aggressive? Well, there's definitely some parts in there that more or less are pointing out some issues that have been long-standing issues, like economics, and
okay.
their stance on economics is, hey, this is a fantasy game,
So they didn't actually fix it, is what you're saying. They just said, "Hey guys, this is a fantasy game,
Right.
Just roll with it."
Don't expect it to be real world economics. It's a fantasy game. Get over it.
Fair enough. It's just that when a horse costs a couple gold, and then you got to pay a couple, several, 50 gold for a piece of equipment that doesn't really do its job, i.e. the healing potions. Let's talk about that. And the system is all over the place. Although, here's the thing. I think their response to that singular aspect of the economics of the D&D. Number one, this, I don't want to say problem, inconsistency has been prevalent as long as I've been playing the game, and I've been playing since 3rd edition.
Mm-hmm.
You've been playing longer, Greg. So does it go back all the way to the brown box?
Well, economics wasn't really a part of basic D&D. It really wasn't. I mean, yes, you had to buy your equipment, things like that. I don't think the idea there was that your dungeon master or whoever was running the game was going to just shower you with gold and treasure all the time.
Yeah.
But definitely economics has been an issue. And it's an issue in a lot of role-playing games, honestly. Because the economic structure is, they've never just come right out and said, hey, look, this is a game. Don't expect the economics to be, if that's your big thing is you want to get it just strictly into the economics, then you might be in the wrong place. I would never want to, tell my customer that, because maybe they do. Maybe they really do get into the economics piece of it. But I do find it refreshing that they, just come right out and rather than go through and try and revamp this whole economic system and try and make some big thing that tries to make a real world style economics, free market, blah, 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 blah. They just come right out and say, look, this is a game. Economics are not going to make sense. There you have it.
Yeah.
I like that. I do. That's probably one of the few things that I like, but I like that.
I'm honestly right there with you, man. It's one of those things where you kind of have to suspend disbelief in a way.
You do.
Because you're playing, maybe not at the beginning, but you're playing a character that ends up being larger than life. I mean, right. Looking at one class and one of many classes that kind of ends up in this position, the wizard, you're bending the fabric or changing the fabric of reality with your spells. So you're not your average Joe. You're not you're not an NPC character.
Right.
You're something large. Again, you're larger than life. So your standard kind of economic fare and kind of penny pinching and all that stuff, it doesn't really apply to you. It doesn't apply to the things that you come across, the items that you come across, and the scenarios that you find yourself in.
Right.
So, and again, I understand the kind of the frustration of things not really adding up. But it's, again, in my opinion, it's one of those things where you kind of have to suspend disbelief as both the player and the DM. Now, again, that's going to be table to table.
Yeah,
People are going to have different opinions on it.
the economics of any game, because just playing the game puts that the money, the coinage, the purchasing power into the game. So you go, whatever, you raid the dungeon, you kill the dragon, you get the big horde. Okay. So now you have this big pile of gold, currency, whatever you want to call it. So then the economics of it is to try and take that back out, because it's not a lot of fun if you can just buy anything at any time, anywhere. I don't find that to be a lot of fun.
Nope.
So, the idea is that, you're going to have fluctuations there. Some things are going to cost more. They're going to cost more from town to town, or, but I think what they've done with this change to the Dungeon Master's Guide is they've backed off of the idea that, hey, we can create complex rules to govern all this stuff. And they've more or less said, hey, look, talk to your DM. Create your own. Figure out your own economic system, rather than us trying to build this huge economy, real world style economy where, a loaf of bread costs this, and, pint of milk costs that, and longsword costs this, and a horse costs that. They're essentially saying, hey, we're going to give you a basic concept to go with, and that's it.
And you can fill in the rest. You can do as much or as little as you want. Hey, welcome in Infinity Core. It's good to see you, buddy. And he says, yes, it is. It's so much to flaunt your wealth and dump gold into a tub and bathe in it like a Scrooge McDuck. You're probably right. It definitely is.
Because most of us in our actual lives are never going to see the hordes of dragon gold. So I can
see in the game. Yeah.
I can understand that, but the challenge then for the game to continue to keep it fun is, how do you spend that money? How do you get that money back out from the players? And maybe I'm just
you
evil.
rob them.
What? There you go. That's, maybe I'm just evil and devious that way, but you bet I would gladly give you the Dragon's Horde. And then I'm going to create an adventure based on somebody took all your money.
No, you fucking rob them. So don't come to my table if you want to keep your gold, because I'm gonna rob that shit from you. You're gonna wake up. You're gonna have one gold sitting right there on the dresser of your room, and everything else is gonna be gone. They're even gonna take your fucking spare clothes. You're gonna have shit.
Your spare clothes, even. Oof.
Yeah, they get everything.
That might be really mean, but yeah.
Look, man, you can just make new clothes, okay? I think what is it? Prestidigitation? Yeah, you can make new clothes for yourself. How about
Right.
that? But I honestly, I think this aspect of before I go on, magic items that the party will want that they mysteriously lose while adventuring. Exactly. Just give them what they want and take it away from them. Just give them a taste of it. And then once they feel comfortable, just take it back.
Whoa. Already losing people tonight. How about that?
Okay.
There we go.
Awesome. So what I was going to say before
you were so rudely kicked out of your seat.
Yeah, they don't want to hear it.
You know what? It's not. I don't think it's actually Streamlabs. I've been, I actually did a little bit of research on this, and because we're a smaller stream, we don't get as much bandwidth from Twitch. So I think that's what ends up happening. And obviously, you're dropping out of Streamlabs too, but
it's okay. But yes, before I was rudely interrupted, I feel like this particular how do I put this? Not correction, but basically them saying, "Hey guys, just sit down and talk with your DM." For me, it does two things that I feel are beneficial for D&D and tabletop games in general. Number one, and this is the most important, communicating with your DM. Oftentimes, you have a lot of either DMs or players who, I'm just going to call it what it is, they're stuck on the rules. We'll call those rules lawyers. But they're stuck on the rules. Well, the book says this, and it doesn't say that. We're here to have fun.
right.
And that's part number two is we're here to have a good time. And if you can sit down with your DM and have that conversation, like, hey, look, I know it doesn't say XYZ explicitly in the game, but I'm thinking this. I'm thinking this, and this, or I know it says this, but it really kind of doesn't make sense. Here's an alternative. And I found, at least the tables that I've sat at, and I mean, Greg, you've sat at my table, I've sat at your table. Mm-hmm. I would say we're probably DMs who are open to having that discussion, and more often than not, we'll either meet you halfway or give you what you're asking for if it makes sense. Because at the end of the day, it's about crafting, number one, a good, cohesive, and collaborative story between player and DM, and people just having fun, both the DM and the players.
Right.
So I think this kind of feel that I've gotten. Again, I haven't bought the DMG yet. I think eventually I will at some point. But the games that we run, we use older content, so we don't really have a use for the 2024 edition at this point in time.
Well, I mean, older 5e. I mean, that's
we use the 2014 edition for our game. So
2014 edition. You're a traitor, man. It's 5e. It's 5e.
It is 5e. You're right. This 2024 is 5.5. What am I talking about? But that said, yeah, honestly, I feel like this edition of the DMG in there, them kind of putting the power. A third thing that just occurred to me, they're putting the power back in both the DMs and players' hand. Like, hey, look, we've put out some rules for this. We know it doesn't, fit everybody's box. So you make up your own. Make up your own, explanation for why the economy is the way it is, and et cetera, et cetera.
Or you just don't really have one. I mean, yeah. you can play your game that way. I mean, why do you have to have an economy? And besides that, there's a lot of tools out there that player generated content that's out there that we've used some of it. I mean, for like the in generators and stuff like that. I mean, why are you just pick up one of those? Generate yourself an in with a menu, pricing, all that good stuff, and just roll with it. I mean, it doesn't matter. That's the thing. It really doesn't matter. If you feel as though you want to make it a richer area, then just bump your prices up. And what the players have to splurge on, what they have to spend. It's just wild to spend so much time worrying about that economic piece, especially with a game that is so large. To me, it doesn't make a lot of sense. You've played with me quite a bit. I don't really. I don't.
He doesn't nitpick.
Right, and I don't focus into the economic piece. I will if that's what the players want. If they they want to like. Whatever, you have your home base in a cyberpunk game and you want to get a med bed. All right, well, I'll come up with a price on that, and I'll make an adventure out of it of how you're actually going to get that thing. How do you, how do you come up with this? We're going to add it into the game, make it something that you do. Versus, how much do I have to pay to get this? It's probably going to be more than you have, no matter how much you have. But
yeah, if I don't want you to have it, you're not going to have it.
Well, it's not that I don't want you to have it. It's just, why would I want you to just go, well, I'm going to get all this money and then I'm just going to buy all the stuff that I want. That doesn't make for a good game. It really just doesn't. And you think about it, part of the inspiration of playing the game, everybody has different motivations, things that they like. You know what I mean? Some people really enjoy the combat piece. Other people that really just want the RP piece to it, the storytelling side of it. Some people just enjoy the headcanon they create while they're there. You know what I mean? And that's completely fine. One of the things that ruins it is when you take away the motivation that people have. So for a game that's all RP, a person who really enjoys the combat they're going to be bored to death. Not going to have any fun with that. So, the objective is to try to find a way that you can create adventure for the party, make it fun for everybody. Create adventure for the party that combines all the elements. If you have somebody there that's really into the economics, then, do that with them. You have somebody else that really isn't into the economics, they don't have to dig into that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's for me the important piece that's there. It's they're putting the onus and the agency back into the hands of the DM and the players to create their own stuff. They've and honestly, I really appreciate that because sticking to go ahead.
I am just so glad that they did not spend all that time, energy trying to create a real world style marketplace for the game, because they've been steadily advancing on that through the iterations of D&D. Trying to have more expansive lists, trying to come up with, what you do during your downtime. How you make what different jobs pay, and that's between you and your DM. It really is. I mean, why would you want rules for that stuff? I don't want rules for that stuff.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't even say I don't want rules for that. Having guidelines, I think, would be better. Having a set of like, hey, these are some ideas that you could use at your table. But having hard and fast rules, I mean,
he did, Darkpon. Rob got younger. He has found the fountain of youth. We didn't want to tell anybody, but
sorry, I can't share with y'all. It's just you got to be me. That's just it. Yeah, that's why I don't like shaving. But it was getting a little wild. Anyway, let's get off the fact that I look, 20 years younger.
Wow.
I wish I was 20 years younger. Jesus. Hard and fast rules. Greg,
wow. Oh, all right.
That's cold, man. That's cold.
Now, okay, so all right, I gotta ask the question now. Do I look wiser because he looks younger? Is that what the deal is? or is that just the sideways way of telling me I'm old? Ah, there you go. Okay. I'm okay with that, man. I am completely okay with that. I like the new look. I think that's great.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I don't. I'm glad someone does. I don't. I hate it. I look like I need to go back to high school. But yeah, back to the topic at hand. I think guidelines are better. I feel like with the 2024 editions of not just the Dungeon Master's Guide, but the Player's Handbook, I think they're leaning more into that, where play the way you want to play. Make up your own rules and your own kind of guidelines and things like that, but do it in conjunction with your DM and the other players at your table.
Right.
I feel like they're trying to not make the game as overly complex as it's got. Because let's face it, granted, D&D is not as crunchy as some other games out there. I've seen some crunchier games, but it is a complex game. There's a lot to remember, both as a DM and as a player. So getting rid of some of the baggage with regards to a lot of the rules and the nitpicky rules. Because let's face, keeping track of every single copper that you have and all bookkeeping for yourself that's nitpicky. That's just in my opinion. And again, to each their own. If that's your thing, that's your thing. But I think the majority of players would rather not.
Right.
It's why we have homebrew rules for encumbrance, because encumbrance it was a big deal. Where if you're carrying even a pound over, you get slammed with so many negatives.
Mm-hmm.
But most DMs, myself included, like, oh look, as long as you're not carrying everything in the fucking kitchen sink, what you have in your bag is what you have. I'll let it slide.
Right.
I'm not gonna be sitting there looking, oh, you're a pound over, never, I'll save that for somebody else.
Right. What do you have on you right now? That's what I want to know. I don't care what all the crap is that you own or whatever. I just want to know what you have right now, because that's what's going to impact the game right now.
Yep. So I think it feels like they're getting away from that, or trying to insert areas of the game. And I appreciate that. And I think a lot of players are also going to appreciate that, because it allows for more latitude in terms of your storytelling, and a lot less stuff for myself, for DMs and players to have to worry about. Well, so good on them for that.
It clears the way for you to do it. I'm not saying, because there are people out there that really, really get into the economic piece, and hey, I enjoy that too. I enjoy the economic piece, but I don't want to spend half of the session worrying about where my gold pieces are going, or how many copper I have, or am I overweight? Hey, I feel all right. But I don't want to worry about that. I want to do the fun stuff. I want to play the game.
Yep.
Not worry about, do I have enough spell components? That's another one for me. I'm a big no spell components person. Or worrying about how much gold I have. Can I do this? Can I do that? Can I buy my new sword? If you're doing it right and you're having fun with it, you're gonna be able to go through and accomplish the things. Set goals for your character and accomplish those things. If you want some new armor, you want a new sword, you want to do this. The other thing to it is, something to be said for, you create that whole economic story for like a real world economics, and then it's now you have all these rules governing what you're doing and how you're doing it, and that can bog things down a lot, and it can create problems for your players, because your players, the motivation piece is always looking for, how do I better my character? And you better your character, like through D&D, you better your character through 1, experience points, 2, to a marginal degree, training, and 3, through the economics, being able to buy better gear, better equipment, better magical items, better spells, better potions.
Yep.
And all 3 of those things they create adventure plots. That's opportunity for story right there. The more, Dark Pawn says, the more rules, the more they can also be exploited, and that's
another problem.
Rules light is definitely, it's challenging for people who. Okay, I'm gonna be rude for a moment. I apologize ahead of time. But if you're not that creative, that's really what it comes down to. If you really can't, envision how that would work for you in your game, then yeah, okay, you're probably the person who's going to want to rely on the rules. You're going to have a rule for everything.
Mhm.
There's tremendous resources out there to find the stuff that if you need help with something to find that stuff. If nothing
Welcome in,
else,
Harper.
if nothing else, if you're the GM or the DM of the game, then just talk to your players and ask them. What do you think this should cost? Can it be manipulated? Sure. I mean, I would love to tell my my DM in my Dungeons and Dragons campaign that I think that my magical Vorpal sword of killing everything should only cost me 5 gold.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
And there's his answer. So there you go.
That's if you can find one. But yeah, and again, I mean, you're exactly right on Holy Pond. The more rules, the more some people are going to find to exploit them. It kind of is what it is. One of the things, there's another thing also, just kind of shift off the topic of economics. The setting. So in the DMG, the setting has switched to, and it's been Forgotten Realms for the longest. Forgotten Realms, by and large, number one, it's a great setting, crafted by Ed Greenwood, who's a legend in the TTRPG community, legendary game designer and creator and storyteller, in his own right. Greg actually had the good fortune to sit next to him during last year, this past year's GaryCon 2024. As when he was there. I bet that was an experience.
Well, here's the thing. I at first didn't even realize, because I was engrossed in my game, and I'm running my game like on the table next to Ed.
Yep.
There's a Dark Pawn who's in the audience is the one who drew my attention to it. He's like, he leans over and tells me, he's like, hey, Ed's like right next to us. And I look over there, and there he is running his game. I'm like, oh, okay.
Ed freaking Greenwood, the creator of Forgotten Realms, who is again a legend. But and the Forgotten Realms have been the
Big Show and Vince Vaughn are there too.
Yep, Ed with Big Show and Vince Vaughn. Yeah. They've actually done. And I know we're on a segue here, but I've seen a number of videos, YouTube videos with them actually playing together. What's his name? Joe Manganiello. If he hears this, I'm sorry, Joe. I butchered your name all the time. Apologize. But he has those guys over at his house to play fairly regularly. You wouldn't imagine looking at a guy like Joe and thinking he's a D&D nerd, but he's a huge D&D nerd. But anyway, so back to the 2024 Dungeon Master's Guide. It is switched from the Forgotten Realms to Greyhawk. Back to Greyhawk, I should say, which is 2nd edition, right? That was the setting for?
Yep.
Greyhawk?
Well, no, Greyhawk was the original.
Was the original setting? Okay.
Gary's original setting.
So yeah. It was probably first and I think part of 2nd edition, because I'm pretty sure Gary and TSR still had.
Oh yeah, this is very, very early. Okay. Greyhawk was it actually had a different name at first, but Greyhawk is Gary Gygax's world. He created that, and actually he created that world when he was running games for his own kids. So that was like original concept type of thing.
Yeah. So they've returned to Greyhawk. I don't think it's in its entirety, meaning like that's the new setting for things, but they have put. I want to say the bits, the core, the bits and pieces of the Greyhawk setting into the DMG for those who want to do something a little bit different. Now, for those of you who've played, I played a little bit of 2nd edition. Most of my experiences from 3rd edition on. I played a small, maybe 5 to 6 session like mini campaign in second edition, but we didn't really get into the nuts and bolts of Greyhawk. I did read some Greyhawk novels that I didn't I read them as a kid. Didn't know that they were part of Dungeons and Dragons till much later in life.
Right.
I heard them. I think I was sitting around talking with some friends, some older friends as well, about D&D, and they mentioned Greyhawk, and my mind went back to those novels. There's 2 novels, and I was like, name rings a bell. I think I have these. And I started explaining that, like, yeah, those are not D&D novels set in the Greyhawk.
Right.
And I was like, holy shit, didn't even know it. Good books from what I can remember. I'm pretty sure I still have them actually too. So I mean, what does it feel like to have the setting go back to something that kind of you started with Greg, and I know on Holy Pond you played all the way back then too. Kind of what does it feel to kind of go back to that setting, as opposed to the Forgotten Realms? And here's another question for you guys: which do you like more?
Whoa. Okay, so I do like second edition. I haven't actually played in second edition rule set in that. See, I kind of look at each edition as being its own game, honestly. That's really how I see it. Since we've been playing 5e, I do enjoy 5e. There are some holes in 5e. And part of how 5e is structured is a little discombobulated, for lack of a better way to put it, because there's certain rules that are kind of buried in obscure places. So you gotta, look way over here to find some definition about this. But that's always been kind of D&D, to be honest with you. I mean, because
that is true.
It's so big, and that's the challenge with second edition is that where 5e was more rules light, if you can call it that. Second edition was like the heavy of rules, because they really went, and that's when the expanded classes, they took the basic classes and they expanded them into the subclasses, and all of that stuff really happened because they had particular books they made, like the Thieves Compendium or Thieves Handbook, which had many different variations of what a thief could be, instead of just your classic thief. Same thing for wizards, rogues, warriors, the whole thing. It's where a lot of the classes that you see in 5e came from, that the subclasses. So yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I went on for a long time there, and the answer is probably second edition. I just haven't played it in a while.
It's okay. What about you, Unholy Pawn? I know I remember you mentioning you've played the earlier editions of D&D. Which is your favorite? And Infinity Core too. I forget you also played. So I had the Ranger's Handbook. I had the Ranger's Handbook was a very extensive volume on the Ranger class. Greyhawk is an amazing, for the reason that it honors the OGs. Like, most of the powerful wizards were played by the creators, like Drummage, Rip Jim. Yeah, I've heard like a lot of the characters, like Vecna, I know was I can't remember if he was an NPC, if he was a PC played by some of the early creators, but I know he's one of the guys that I know from second edition. That's the big name. Him. For those of you who don't know, Tasha, who is the on the cover of Tasha's Cauldron or anything, her character originates from second edition as well, from the Greyhawk universe. She went by a different name in that universe, and
Elminster?
graduated, and Elminster, another one. Heck no, to the Vecna.
No!
Yeah, Vecna. What's up, Baptized? Yeah, Vecna was he's one of those guys you just want to see in the ground. He's an interesting character. But you know what? I will say this about Vecna: he man's persistent. he got no quit in him. He's just gonna keep going. He's gonna keep going until he gets what he wants. So I gotta respect it.
I think, see, now I think Vecna makes a really good bad guy. Maybe not like the bad guy in the story, but he's like the, you know, the top of the food chain style bad guy. And if you're not going to go right straight into like deities and demigods,
Yeah.
because he is that guy. But you check out some of the. So there were some role aids that were created during the time of second edition, so mid to late 90s. Some role aids that were created. One of them is called Undead, and I absolutely, yeah, he's a fantastic villain. But one of them is called Undead. I'm gonna do something with that at some point here. I've got a copy of that. And Vecna's not in that. At that point, Vecna was in Ravenloft. But
Really? Okay, I didn't know he ended up in Ravenloft.
oh
Okay.
yeah, absolutely. Before he tried to take over Sigil, he was a lord in Ravenloft.
Okay.
And-
All right. Yeah, I do know about his attempted takeover of Sid. Actually, I'm gonna correct you there. Apparently, it is canonically pronounced Sigil.
yeah.
I didn't know that. I ended up going down a rabbit hole.
Canonically.
I was listening, to some Planescape stuff, and according to the appropriate lore, it is pronounced Sigil. But the Lady of Pain was not having none of Vecna shit.
I can't.
She kicked him the fuck out.
I can't diss lore because lore is lore. But you know, you've played with me enough. You know my stance on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, no, you're right. So yeah. Anyway, this undead piece. One of the main villains in that is a Lich Lord called Nightbay. And part of Nightbay's power is he actually has the hand and eye of Vecna.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
That's a bad combination.
So, but that's the idea there is, okay, Vecna's in there, mentioned in there, but he's like the next level. You're fighting a big bad here with the Lich Lord Council and this Nightbay character. But you're not actually fighting Vecna.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. For those of you who don't know, Vecna is one of the. I mean, he's actually out in 5th edition now. There's a whole campaign book wrapped around him. But that wasn't actually his first appearance. For those of you who don't know, he actually appeared in Descent into Avernus. As a matter of fact, it was Joe Manganiello's character. I can't remember the name of the character, but he was an Oathbreaker Paladin who actually acquired the Hand of Vecna. And I'm pretty sure he's an NPC in that campaign book. So kudos to Joe for that one. But Vecna has appeared in 5th edition. Fully now. He has a whole stat block and everything. He's pretty bonkers.
99 problems, but a Lich ain't one.
Yeah.
We can fix that for you, Baptized, if you want. I mean, you know.
I was gonna say. But yeah, I'm excited that they have decided to offer up a different setting, because for the longest time it has been Forgotten Realms. I mean, they brought in Spelljammer, which is its own. It's kind of the Outer Plane setting. But I think most players will stick to the Forgotten Realms. And again, nothing wrong with that.
So
having
Baptized,
something a little different.
So Baptized, are you saying if I create and run an undead game that and you're with the Lich Lord Council, you wouldn't be interested in that? We'll give him some time to think on that one.
Well, I don't know if he's
probably got a quick answer. He's like, hell no, I don't want to do that.
Got to be careful what you're signing up there for, buddy. So But yeah, I'm glad. I'm really glad that they're changing it up and they're kind of taking a step in the direction of allowing, you know, each table to kind of just come up with their own thing, you know. 'Cause that's really what, in my opinion, makes D&D D&D.
Ooh,
It's every table kind of doing eating barbecued chicken. Oh, that
messy
actually
hands.
sounds pretty
It
good.
does sound fantastic. Hey,
That sounds really good.
so this is like our Thanksgiving edition. I hadn't really thought
Oh
about
yeah.
that until like later this evening. I'm like, yeah, it is the day before Thanksgiving. So,
Hmm.
what are you doing for Thanksgiving there, Rob?
Oh, me? Oh, okay. Well, I am spending it with my dad and my little brother,
Hmm.
and I think maybe a couple other people coming over. If not, it'll just be the three of us, which is totally fine because my dad he can get down in the kitchen. So we're gonna have turkey, pernil, which is a Puerto Rican dish of roast pork shoulder, arroz con gandules, which is rice and pigeon peas, um, and apple pie, pumpkin pie, and those are straw bought, not made from scratch.
I
I ain't got
gotta
time for all that.
I gotta come to your house.
You're more than welcome, man. You're more than welcome. But yeah, just a relaxing, kind of spend it with the family as you should be. Hopefully, everyone is able to spend it with someone, you know, that they're close to. Oh yeah, just none complicated. Just eat and let the food coma set in, and then go to sleep.
So I was asked to dress the turkey this year.
Okay.
Yep.
What are you gonna dress it in? A flannel, maybe some jeans.
That would be my idea right there.
I know you well enough. You try some shit like that. Throw a shirt on and some jeans. Oh, there's dressed. We're good.
I'm quite sure people would not be amused if that's what the turkey
Pro-
looked like. But
Probably
hey,
not.
here's a little message from the turkeys as well.
Bikini turkey.
So yeah, no, we're not hosting this year. So we're traveling this year. So yeah, no actual bikini turkey, but I now that I have seen that image, it's gonna happen at some point. It is definitely gonna
It's
happen.
ingrained in your brain
Yep,
now.
the
You can't
go-go
let it
boots
go.
and the whole deal. I mean, gotta have it.
Jesus. Ah, boy. Okay, so you're not hosting. You remember we were talking off stream about this. You're going to be heading to various family. That honestly, for anyone who's ever hosted a Thanksgiving, not having to is the greatest thing ever.
It's yeah, once in a while where you get to just be you get to travel a little bit, go someplace else,
Uh,
and when you're the host, you're stuck there. I mean, where are you gonna? It's your house. You can't leave. I mean, I guess you
yep.
could. I
Yeah.
could be like, hey, y'all enjoy your holiday. I'm gonna
I'm gonna go down to the bar, have a couple of drinks.
right.
I'll be back. I'm back in a little bit. Hey, what's up?
Wreck
Oh
someone's
man,
bathroom.
Garrus,
There you go.
welcome in, man.
Welcome in, Garrus.
Yeah, wreck someone's bathroom. Yeah. Oh man, Garrus, welcome in, buddy. Haven't seen you in a while. We were actually talking Thanksgiving plans. What are you doing for Thanksgiving?
Yes, please do let us know. Okay, a Tata joint is that? There you go.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Oh,
yeah,
a
that
gentleman's club.
place, one of those
Gotcha.
places.
Okay, I mean, yeah, you could go there, I guess. I mean, actually, okay, and this is a huge segue, and I can't remember how I know this, but at those establishments, if you do go there on Thanksgiving, they actually serve Thanksgiving dinner at some of those places.
I maybe you know a little bit too much about those places. I'm not.
Honestly, I you know what? This
I was
might be
actually
a
I
little.
thought I was thinking of that question of are they even open on like Thanksgiving Day?
I think some of them are. I think some of them are.
All the breasts and thighs you want. Yeah.
Yeah, in one way or another, yeah. But yeah, I think I've heard that some of these places they'll have Thanksgiving in there for you. Hey, you know what? Look, for if that's where you're gonna spend your Thanksgiving, at least you're not spending it alone.
Right,
That's all I gotta
right.
say.
There you go. I mean,
At least
hey,
you
if
ain't spending it
if
alone.
McDonald's is open, then I mean, why can't they be open too? Absolutely.
Are you serious? I'm not surprised. I'm
That's
not
wild.
surprised. Yeah, you know what? Look, again, as long as you're not spending the time by yourself, man. Spend it with
Exactly.
somebody.
Exactly. Find
Yeah,
find somebody to go spend Thanksgiving, have your Thanksgiving dinner with. And I wish all of you a very happy Thanksgiving for sure.
I do. Absolutely,
I
absolutely.
plan on eating way more than I should.
That's the goal, Greg. That's the goal. Just eat
Absolutely.
way more than you should, and and just try to enjoy
I
enjoy the
told you
time, enjoy the company.
part of the traveling this year means I don't have to. Well, I'm not cooking anything. We are. My wife
Mhm.
and I are going to bake a couple pies. Actually, she's going to bake a couple pies. And then I get off. Scott, all I got to do is meat and cheese tray, and I'm actually going to make the meat. I'm not going to just go buy it. I'm going to make it. I got to do that tonight yet, but I'm going to slice up all the meat, all the cheese, and arrange it so it's nice and whatnot.
Greg, I've been meaning to ask you.
Yeah.
Do you have a deli slicer in your house?
No, I do not have a deli. Probably should.
You always pegged me as the guy who would have a deli slicer in his kitchen. For some odd reason, I was like, no, Greg has one of those.
No, no, we have a bunch of other um tools, I guess you could say.
Tools.
All the
Yeah, yeah.
food processors and all that stuff, but
Hmm.
the deli slicer thing, no. I usually do it by hand. I just slice it by hand.
All right,
There's
so
something about, slicing that meat by hand. Anyway.
yeah, no, I
I'm not going there,
yeah,
I
I
guess.
mean, Unholy Pawn says we made lefse,
Lefse,
but ordered.
yes.
What is that? What the hell's that?
Oh, lefse is, well, it's a form of bread.
Okay.
Um, kind of like,
Is
well, it's not
is
the
it like?
same, but it's I mean, you have like your the bread you buy at the store, which is garbage, by the
Mhm.
way. But yeah, so you got your loaves of white bread. There's so many different types of breads, and you have lefse's one. It's a thin bread, kind of like a fried bread. But it's not hard. It's a soft bread. You got
It's
like
like a tortilla made from potatoes.
right, and you got like pita bread, stuff like that as well.
You had me at potatoes. I love potatoes. So there's bread out of potatoes.
Potato and flour.
Yeah. So
Lefse's good, man.
basically, it's potato bread.
I just be careful who you
Is that
say
what
that
it
around.
is? Potato bread? Like I don't know. Look. I don't care. I don't care what the hell it is, as long as I can fucking eat it. I don't
It's
give a
good.
shit.
It's good stuff.
And I'll take your word for it. Okay, it's Norwegian. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that
You
makes
can, you
sense. That
can
makes sense.
I'll bet you if you go to your local deli, ask them for some lefse. They'll know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay. It's ironic because my mom lives in Bay Ridge, which
Mhm.
is a part of Brooklyn that actually has a very big Norwegian population. So I could probably get some lefse there. Unironically, I actually did the 23andMe kind of deal, the ancestries. I'm apparently 10% Norwegian. Don't know fucking where, but there you go. Who knew?
Who knew?
I guess it's on the Spanish side. And yes,
Welcome,
Spanish is different than Puerto Rican.
welcome
So,
to the Norwegian.
but who the fuck knew? Um, Your kids make it from scratch in a big production.
Now,
Oh, okay. So it's a grandma passed. So yeah, that's how you know the recipe is legit. If your grandma passed that's how you know it's legit. I'm sorry. I have never had food made by a grandparent, especially a grandmother, not be delicious. I think it's like, I don't know, when you become a grandparent, the universe gives you like this cookbook of just amazing food.
it is a family thing, Baptiste.
Yep.
Absolutely. We don't like, okay, traditionally Thanksgiving turkey. We don't do turkey for Thanksgiving.
What do you do traditionally?
Well, that depends. I mean, every year we try to mix it up a little bit. Sometimes it's ham. We did do a deep fried turkey a few years ago. Tried that.
How'd that go? I've always wanted to try.
Actually, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I was a little skeptical, but yeah, it's pretty good. We did prime rib 2 years ago.
Oh, that's a good. Can't go wrong with prime rib.
Yeah. So I mean, it doesn't have to be turkey. I mean, you know, I stuck the little thing up there. I mean, you know, here's the turkey message again.
He had hair before the deep fried turkey.
Save the turkeys.
Yeah. You always pick it on Greg on Holy Pot. I have it on good authority. You don't have much more hair than he does, my man. So let me guess, you got caught in a deep fried turkey incident too?
Probably.
It's like he has less. Oh man. But yeah, guys, long story short, you know, for those of you who celebrate or don't celebrate Thanksgiving, whether you do or don't,
same hairdo.
Enjoy yourself. We're gonna have the same hairdo. Unholy Pawn says I leaned over to the fryer.
Yeah, I put a lot of hair into my hair. You
know. He does. I've watched him. He make sure it's coiffed just so.
Right. Yep. You know what?
Yeah,
you get to a point in your life where, especially if you have thinning hair, you get to a point in your life where you're like, you know what? I just don't even want to deal with this anymore. And this happens. I mean, that's
what I've heard. I have a cousin of mine who was losing his hair, and he just said, you know what, screw it, just started, you know,
right,
shaving its skin, and I'm like, okay, hey, whatever works for you, man.
I'm not actually bald. I mean, I still have hair. It's just I keep it really, really short. And it makes me look bald because it's all white. So I mean,
it's all the stress. I love you too, Unholy Pawn. You're a good sport, man. But yeah. So hopefully my hair doesn't fall out. I don't want my hair to fall out. And I only say that not throwing shade at y'all who are bald. I just wouldn't look good bald. I've had my hair.
How do you know?
Cut.
Well, I guess
I've been close. I've been close. And I don't know. No, just no. The world does not need to see that.
I save a lot of money on haircuts, by the way.
I'm sure you do. But so one thing that I do want to go over before we kind of wrap up here, that actually came. Sorry.
Well, we have a couple. We have a couple of topics we need to cover yet, because we definitely need to talk about what is going on with Critical Role.
Oh yes, let's dive into that.
There's and that's it's for the longest time they were like the the golden egg, or the goose that laid the golden egg.
Yeah.
Anything they touched sold.
Absolutely.
And and I'm not dissing them by any means, because they they built something that of course they've had some major funding behind them all the way along, but they built something. They tell some great story. There's some, very good actors and whatnot that participate and take part in the storytelling piece, and I know that their fan base is absolutely huge. But I think, through the games that they've created here, some of them didn't do so well. They weren't well received, for a couple of different reasons.
We've covered them here, yeah.
Hopefully, the new game that they're putting out will do better for them. But the oddity to it is when they decided they were going to go with miniatures. Did you know that they did miniatures?
I didn't until recently. I was not aware that they were going to do miniatures until recently.
Yeah, that was a big deal. They had big backing, major company behind them. Put out their miniatures. There were promises made that, they were part of a Kickstarter, and, these miniatures are coming. People bought them. Well, they thought they bought them because they never actually got them. The whole line was
never
canceled.
got them, yeah. Yep.
Critical Role canceled. I
think Baptized kind of hit on something there. They said, I am not a fan of their live campaign, but love the Vox Machina anime. I do as well. Season 3 was awesome. Season 1 and 2 are just as great. Like the whole thing, really good stuff. But let's touch on that first part there, the live. Their live campaigns have drastically dipped in viewership over the years. This last one being the worst. I'm not going to say worst in terms of quality. I'm going to say worst in terms of viewership. Again, I haven't seen it, so I'm not going to speak to the quality or the, that kind of aspect. But yeah, I think, and I'm not going to sit here and say Critical Role's heyday is past. I think it might be past. I think they're not the best thing since sliced bread anymore for whatever reason.
Well, there's a lot of options out there now, and
that's part of it. Yeah.
Some people feel, some people. I know a guy who feels as though they let all the hype and popularity go to their head.
Yeah. I think that's part of it. I think, and we've seen aspects of that kind of level of popularity and kind of hubris that went with it in terms of, in my opinion, and again, my opinion, one of the games that we talked about here was Candela Obscura, where some of the things that were put forth in that particular game that they came out with were, to put it bluntly, a little preachy in certain respects.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna leave it there. You guys can do your own due diligence on that aspect. And it was not well received by the TTRPG community at all. It was heavily called out for good reason. I'm not, and I'm pretty sure 99.9% of the gaming community, no matter what medium you're playing, we don't want to buy a product and be preached at.
Right.
That's not why we're buying it. You're not my moral conscience. Thank you, but I have one of those, right? I don't need you.
If I'm right, and if I'm watching a show or a story, who loves commercials? You know what I mean? That's part of the whole idea. Back in the late 80s, early 90s, that was the business model of cable. Is no commercials.
Mm-hmm.
You pay for cable, you don't have to deal with commercials. Nobody wants to deal with that because you want the story. You don't want people trying to sell you shit. You know what I mean?
Nope, exactly. Yeah, I'm here for the story. If you want to sell me something, especially and again, Unholy Pond and Baptized are touching on a big piece here. Twitch and YouTube, they're essentially in streaming services like that. We'll say Netflix, Hulu, YouTube, the list goes on. The streaming services are our new cable television. So you know what? If I'm watching something on Twitch or YouTube, that someone is putting together for the channel, I do expect and anticipate some level of sponsorship from someone depending on the size of the channel,
Right.
right? So I'm yeah, okay, yeah, sure, no problem. I'm gonna expect they're gonna try, but you do that at the midpoint or at the end or the beginning or some. Don't don't make your product the pitch for some like don't try to sell me something. I'm there for your story. Make that the central focus.
Right. Right.
You know,
If you're gonna pitch anything on a live stream, then pitch what you're doing, not some product that you want to sell.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and it's tempting. It's always tempting. If you have a product to sell, it's always tempting because you have the audience. It's always tempting to put that product out there. But
Don't do it.
you can make some sales that way. But why? Why water down what you're doing for a few bucks?
No, man.
Some people go the other way
yeah.
and say, well, it's I want to make the money, but I
Yeah,
think I kind of think this
I
way.
don't know, dude.
I kind of think this way. If your audience really truly wants to support you in that way and buy the products that you have, whether it's game products or whatever they are, they're going to do that if they're aware that you have it. And there's other ways to let them be aware that you have it than plastering, ads all over and making people watch the ads. That's the Twitch is making that mistake right now. They're all about money and
Yep.
the ads.
All about the ads.
Stuff.
Yep.
Right.
And people are getting tired of it. And they are moving to other platforms as Infinity Pawn and sorry, Infinity Pawn. I just smashed Infinity Cord on Holy Pawn together. That'd be an interesting amalgamation. Unholy Pawn and Baptized mentioned. We're getting tired of it, and I'm in that same boat. I'm getting tired of the ads and we got to sell you this or we got to show this or I don't give a shit. Trust me, if I did, I'd go find it myself.
The ladies can be really, really brutal. Absolutely. I think they're a lot less inhibited, personally, when it comes to the lady gamers. Many. You see, I'm just going off the comment that he's making right there because we have a couple in our party that, I don't mess with them.
Mm-hmm.
I just try to leave them alone. Okay.
Yeah, they do kind of. That is true. They can be out of pocket a little bit here and there sometimes, but hey, thankfully it's all in good fun, for the most part.
I don't want to. I don't want my character to get prison shanked in the middle of the night. Just trying to catch a few Z's.
So yeah, unfortunately, Critical Role is on the downswing. I'm hopeful that they can kind of turn things around for the better.
Oh.
I don't ever want to. One of our girls is an ex roller derby. Oh God, yeah. Good luck with that, buddy. Roller derby chicks are not to be messed with. Some bro. I've been to a roller derby or two. They're brutal, man. And she loves destroying stuff and doing sketchy things. Oh boy.
Sounds like fun.
But yeah, I hope Critical Role manages to turn their fortunes around, both from a content creation standpoint and just a game creation standpoint. I never want to see a company go out of business. Number one, that is good, that is trying to deliver good content for their people, for the people that buy their stuff. And I really do think they do. They're trying to do that. Because that's how they started out. That's how their first, campaigns started. They wanted to tell a good story, and they did. And then they told another good story, and then somewhere along the line, they veered off course a little bit.
It just became too commercialized. That's hopefully, I don't want to diss anybody either, but I mean, hopefully they realize that piece and figure out how to manage that so they can get back to telling good story. hey, continue to do the merchandising stuff, monetize. I mean, here's the thing. You're either doing this because it's out of passion and then you're probably never really going to have a huge audience, or you're doing this because you want to make money. And that's what they did. They wanted to make that what they do. At some point, it becomes that. You want to make that what you do. And you can't do that unless you're able to make money doing it. I mean, you can't just be a storyteller or a creator or streamer or whatever it happens to be for
and
free.
not pay your bills.
And
yeah.
I don't think that my cardboard box in the alley is going to support the stream. So.
Yeah, no. I don't think you're gonna get good reception. Streamlabs is definitely not gonna cooperate.
Yeah, probably not.
But yeah, so I hope they get back on target. Because not for nothing, I've seen some of the playtest stuff. I've read through the rules of the playtest stuff for Daggerheart. It's not what I'm used to. I'm hopeful it will improve. I'm not a huge fan of the whole card thing. That's my thing. I don't like cards that I gotta fiddle with. That kind of puts me off. It's interesting though. I will say that it's
Right.
interesting. One of the systems I'm looking forward to is the Stormlight Archive system that's being put together by Brandon Sanderson and his team.
Yes.
Brotherhood Gaming, I think it's called. I can't remember off the top of my head. They're partnered with Brandon Sanderson has partnered with a game design company. I can't remember their name for the life of me. I apologize, guys, if you've watched this.
I'm struggling with it too.
But I am really looking forward to
we do our
that
research.
system
We just
because-
don't have really long memories. So it's
yeah, it's hard to keep all the things that we have to read through in
Right,
mind
right.
sometimes.
I can remember anything for about 10 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. DC-20. I am also waiting to see that Unholy Pawn. I've been keeping up to date on them. Not so much here lately, but I'm gonna get back into it because I like the way he's kind of doing things as well. MCDM is another system that's coming out soon that we've talked about here in the past. So yeah, guys, keep if you're interested, keep your eyes open. There's tons of stuff coming out there. So there we've got content galore for
Dungeon Coach. Yep.
for TTRPGs and video games as well. I mean, again, we're coming up on the end of the year, so the video game awards and stuff. Their various video game award ceremonies are coming out, so we'll get to see some stuff, and I'm sure we'll see some other advertisements for other ones. Hopefully, though, this year's video game awards are not like last year's, which was 80% advertisement and 20%
Right.
actually award ceremony. So
Yeah, last year's were a little bit disappointing, for sure.
it was mostly freaking advertisements. I was like, wait a minute, I didn't sign up for this. What was the next topic we had, Greg? I know we had one.
I had looked at, we had a couple of things to talk about tonight. I just want to bring up quickly the next edition of Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh yes,
because that's it's not going to be an expansion. It's going to be like a sequel.
Yes, so, it is.
Go ahead.
It's code name. It doesn't have a name yet, but it is gonna follow on the heels of 2077. It's project codenamed Orion. So I don't know if it's going to be set in the year of 2077 or it might be set a year or two after that. But it's not going to be the same story of V that we saw in 2077. But yeah, CDPR is working on the next piece of the Cyberpunk franchise. I do think they are doing something with 2077 as well.
Well, they continue to put out, small pieces for 2077,
Yes. Yeah.
which is amazing, and
Yeah,
continuously.
I thought they were done with that. To be honest, I thought they were.
I'm a little sad because there's a lot of stuff in 2077 that, there's a lot of places that it's obvious there were thoughts about what to do with and potential for expansion DLCs on that system, but at the same point in time, I'm looking forward to see, okay, what is next, because the life of that game has been somewhat turbulent. I mean, it got a rough start.
Oh yeah.
And definitely came back strong and has proven to be, a very good game. Especially with the Phantom Liberty addition to it. And
DLC.
yeah, the fact that CD Projekt Red stuck with it and turned that franchise around and made it into something. I'm interested. I want to see, what's this next edition going to be, and is it truly going to be a sequel or what? Would be the other piece to it.
Sorry.
You're okay.
Yeah, to answer your question, Baptized, I'm sure the tariffs will affect the at least the gaming industry here in the U.S. It is going to be we're going to see some changes here in 2025. Going into 2025. As to what they're going to be and how big that impact is going to be, I am not 100% sure, to be completely honest with you.
Huge Kickstarters coming out next year, yes.
Yeah, there are a number of them coming out next year. Oh, money.
Well, we'll find out what happens with that. I mean, here's the other side to that is to have the game be produced here. It's what's the impact going to be of tariffs? I don't know. I think we have to wait and see. Hard goods would be impacted. I agree with what Unholy Pawn is saying is more of a bargaining tool. I agree completely with that. We'll see though. We'll see what it ends up being. And the answer to tariffs is produce things here. You don't have to pay tariffs.
Yeah.
And
I mean that's the best case scenario, to be completely honest.
Right.
That's the best case.
Create jobs, build wealth here.
Yep.
And do you have to make the widgets in whatever it happens to be? Do you have to make in the 80s and 90s? I don't want to go down this path, but I mean 80s and 90s, Toyota figured this out, started making cars here, started making Toyotas here, versus making them in Japan and shipping them over here. I mean that's how you do it. Build it here, make it here. If you want to sell, if you want to sell stuff in taking the U.S. out of the equation, if you want to sell stuff in Botswana, then go make stuff in Botswana. You know what I mean?
Yeah, get some property out there, build a factory or whatever you have to do that.
Right.
Do that. Yeah, absolutely. Make more money. And again, not to go down that road, but you make more money.
Right. Well, you do, and you provide for the local people at the same time, because you're creating jobs, you're creating wealth in that country, and it's their own wealth because they're buying the products that their fellow citizens are making. So your money that you're spending isn't going into somebody's account half a world away, and you don't know what's happening with that. I mean, yeah. Anyway. I don't want to go down that path.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to go down that rebel.
It's a deep one. What the impact is going to be on the gaming industry is hard to say. The Cyberpunk 2077 or Cyberpunk 2, whatever that's going to end up being, I don't know. right now. But it is out there. It's being talked about. Got the Project Horizon piece. I'm excited to see it. The only other thing on there, and this is just a kind of a question mark, but Skyrim.
Yeah, Elder Scrolls 5, Skyrim, and
Is there going to be an Elder Scrolls 6 ever in my lifetime?
see it in our lifetime, Greg. Might take a couple of years, but
You think
might
so?
see it,
You
who
think we'll
knows?
see it?
Maybe,
I hope so.
perhaps.
I would.
I
I
mean,
would.
they've put out some teasers and some information out for it, so it's definitely in the works. Is it going to happen? Maybe.
It's a thought that is out there, and it is possible. I mean, I think I'm going to dig more into that, find out what is actually going on there and where that's at. Not that they're going to tell me, but I mean, I can ask questions anyway. All right, so I think that brings us to the end for tonight.
Yeah, I think that's
Okay.
kind of all we had to really cover.
Let everybody get on with their holiday, and get some rest tonight, so you're all ready for family and friends and good food and good company tomorrow. Hopefully, good company.
Yep.
Couple of announcements to make though before we run off. So, new project that we are launching December 14th. We've been developing two different storylines in the background. One is for Symborum, which we've talked a lot about. Yeah, cheers from Wisconsin for you, Baptized. So the Symborum game is going to be straight to video. That'll be on YouTube probably sometime in January. Starting December 14th, we are launching a Walking Dead stream. And I would love to see everybody there. We have the cast put together, developing the storyline. A lot of interesting stuff going into that, and I am really looking forward to the story. So it's going to be our take on The Walking Dead. Not it'll follow the same world universe as The Walking Dead. The shows, the movies, all that stuff, but it's going to be our own story, and it's gonna to give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek to it. It's going to take place in Wyoming, and that's where they're going to start out. Skipping Dead, Hopping Dead. How about that? No, episode 1 is conveniently named Boulder. So check that out. December 14th, we'll be live here on Twitch and on YouTube for episode 1. And we're really looking forward to it. Excited about it. That's all I got for right now, man.
All right.
Very.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, I think.
Okay. And I think Baptize has talked me into
covers.
doing something with that undead piece too at some point here. So
I mean, yeah, even better.
hey, liches. I mean, that's all you gotta say. Liches.
Liches. That said, yeah, I think
You want to close us out?
yeah, that guys, thank you guys for coming in. That was episode 76 of the update log. I'm Rob, your host, Greg, my co-host, and that's it for tonight. You guys, for those of you who celebrate, have a great Thanksgiving with you and your family. For those who don't celebrate, have a great